Hello everyone, I'm Aarushi and today I'll be talking about Audre Lorde. She described herself as black, lesbian, mother, warrior, and a poet. She dedicated her life and talent to confronting and addressing issues of injustice in racism, sexism, classism, and about homophobia. She was born and raised in Harlem, New York in the 1934, was part of a minority community because her parents were immigrants from the Caribbean. As a child, she had communication problems with her parents, especially her mom. She didn't feel as much love because of her blacker skin and the fact that she was a lesbian, both which were looked down upon. So through this struggle, she came to appreciate the power of poetry and used it as a form of expression. As she was born in the era where civil rights and women liberation movements were put forth, she thought it was best to use her love of poetry to a good use. In this presentation, I'll be analyzing how identity and culture are expressed through poetry. I will do this by analyzing Audre Lorde's poems, which are based on her thoughts about injustice in racism, sexism, and classism. I'm doing this because these issues are a huge part of who Lorde is as a person herself, and that she faced these issues and used poetry to speak up for herself. The first poem I'll be looking at is called Now, which was part of the collected poems of Audre Lorde 1997. It was written during the women liberation movement when the Women March occurred. The freedom fighters in this case were promoting repentance for the pain the black women went through, along with demands for restoration and resurrection of African American communities. This poem reflects her identity quite effectively because, for starters, she used words like women, black, human in the poem, suggesting that she as a person is a black female and a human being who's expecting to be treated the same way as others. Moreover, it was written in first person, making it more personal to her. And lastly, the lines "I am, are you ready?" were spoken as though, or written as though it's a challenge, as if she's ready to see a change, indicating that she's protesting against or promoting an issue that reflects her identity as an activist, a warrior who's fighting for her rights. Next, I'll be looking at the poem Who Said It Was Simple. It was published in Lorde's third volume of poetry, From a Land Where Other People Live, in 1973 during the civil and the women rights movements. This poem basically criticizes those who call themselves feminists, but they still continue to accept and benefit from oppressions of other groups. Since she identifies herself as a feminist and that it is a huge part of who she is, she's unable to accept this conditional form of feminism, which is why she speaks up in this poetry. As you can see, the red highlighted box where she says, discussing the problematic girls they hired to make them free, and the lines that the ladies neither notice nor reject the slighter pleasure of their slavery. Moreover, there's a direct testament of Lorde's identities. In the pink box that I have highlighted, we can see that she's referencing to her status as a black and a homosexual woman, as she's using words like bound by my mirror and color, reflecting her darker skin, and the words bed referring to her homosexuality. The final lines of the piece, the one that I have put in the black box, and sit here wondering which me will survive all these liberation, Lorde calls attention to the limited liberation movements that have been taking place. And she's saying this because she's wondering which part of her will survive, which aspect of her identity would survive. Either black people, either homosexual people, either women. Which one will get their freedom first? Which one will be liberated? In conclusion, Lorde uses different words which helps her reflect who she is, for instance, black, women, human, and the use of her first person helps reflect that it is personal, it makes it more powerful. The way she structured all the stanzas in the poem appear powerful, reflecting how well of a poet she is, as well as the style she's been saying, showing how strong she is, showing that she's oppressing against an idea, reflecting her identity as an activist. Through her topic of discussions, she also reflects her thought, for instance, what is feminist to her. She's using her personal life experience, her part of her identities that are facing issues, and when she feels there's something to speak up about, she uses forms as poetry to talk about these issues. This is the bibliography. Thank you.